Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I remember you did an interview on ESPN where you talked about some of the struggles you had with alcoholism. And the trial by fire tour didn't go so well. So at one point during the Oregon show, you were destroying some equipment that was that belonged to Bones Owens. You guys had a fallout. DJ Clever left the band. And then there was an altercation in Sacramento, and you ended up canceling the rest of the tour. There was like 7 dates left. And they're saying that after the tour, you had a mental breakdown and your ex-manager forced you into a psych ward. How much of this is accurate that I just said?
It's all 100% accurate. Every bit
100%.
of it. Yeah, so like, I quit drinking and started smoking weed, thinking that was going to suffice. But as it turns, man, I just started losing it slowly, and that's because I have like bipolar tendencies, man. Like my my manager and I, like, we say professionally bipolar, creatively schizophrenic. You know what I mean? Like, but that's part of my superpower, you know what I mean? But if I'm not careful with that, which I was very careless with it while I was smoking all that weed and not just anything. I'm not talking about just flower. I'm talking about dabs, pens, anything. Just very careless about what I was putting into my body. It was making me psych out. And my friends started noticing it. And all I was doing was smoking and skateboarding at that point. That's all I wanted to do. Before the show, it was all skateboarding, all just smoking. And yeah, man, if you just slightly upset me, it was like manic, And so yeah, Bones and Clever, we fell out because of that stint. And then when I think I gave some kid like 10 G's for a C10, like a 67 C10 or some shit, and a trade. And then I got off. The first thing I did was quit riding a bus. And I drove that lowrider all the way to Hollywood. And I was just wilding, man. Just wilding in Hollywood, like crazy shit. I'm lucky to be alive. Like holding up traffic, like in my lowrider on Sunset, like not letting anyone pass. And like daring someone to say something. And someone did, jumped out and chased him, like yelling at police and shit, like fuck crazy shit, man. Just kind of out there. And then there's one video that really, or there's a couple, but there's one video that says a lot about my mental state. And that was what was the video we cut with DJ Paul that you shot?
Getaway.
Yeah. The song's called Getaway. Ironically, because my brother and I are so spiritually tied, he was like, yo, man, I just pulled up. And this is after like all the shit I just pulled on Sunset. So I'm on one. And he's like, oh, I want you to, there's a scene where I want you to bury somebody. And I was like, oh, I know who I'm fucking burying. I'm burying Yelawolf. I'm over this shit. So I wrote my name, Yelawolf, on a piece of paper and threw it in a grave. And you could see me in that video, like, burying it, because I was done, man. I was like, this is gone too far. Everything's gone too far. I felt like at the time, at least. But keep in mind, I was checked out, And I just we had that show, and Jelly was actually on that tour, Jelly and Struggle. And it took a while actually to mend that relationship back after dropping that tour, because it meant a lot to them. And I had to personally pull up and apologize to my brothers, you know what I mean? That was sometime later. But anyway, I called my boy Danny Way, and I was like, hey, he's a pro skater. I don't know if you're familiar with Danny Way, but legendary.
Mm-hmm.
But I called him and I was like, hey man, I'm pulling up. Pulled my bus up to his house. I was like, man, just hold me down for a while. So he's got a compound, right? and no one's allowed in there. And so again, all I was doing was just smoking and skateboarding like everywhere, going to his like training facility and skating and smoking. And my mom was with me at the time. And then I started bloodletting, which is like you cut yourself with a razor somewhere on your skin, and then you bloodlet to. It's like a Native American practice, it's like it's supposed to help release, you know what I mean? Release shit, you know what I mean? Which is probably why I'm addicted to getting tattoos as well. You know what I mean? Like the pain is part of my process, But anyway, word got out that I was suicidal, which is not at all true, but I was scaring people. I was scaring people that love me. And my dad got sent out to Jim Garner. He got sent out to San Francisco, or no, Seattle. No, where the fuck? Oh, San Diego. And because Travis Barker called Paul and said, "Hey, man, something's wrong with Wolf, man. Like something's not right." And something wasn't right. And my dad pulled up. I was at the skate shop in San Diego, and someone asked me, because I started putting blood on like white Vans and like making art out of it, basically, which they ripped, by the way, around the corner. They designed that shoe. Like blood splotch on a white tennis shoe, on a white slip-on. My mom has those shoes, by the way. And someone asked, they bought a pair of white Vans for me and asked me to bloodlet over it in front of the shop. And like a perfect storm, here comes my dad out of nowhere and 4 cop cars. And it was just like, I couldn't have like convinced them that I wasn't suicidal. I couldn't convince them that there was like blood on the ground, bro. You know what I mean? And a bandage around my hand. So they arrested me and took me to the psych ward. And, I sat up in that motherfucker for 4 days. Like a Green Day video. Like real shit. Scrubs, padded rooms, the whole 9. So I kicked my own ass.
Well, yeah, you said in the psych ward, they tried to break me and feed me drugs for 72 hours against my will. I lost everything and lost 95% of every so-called friend and business associate during my stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost everyone's faith in me, you know what I mean? Including a great deal of fans. I think I lost like over 150,000 followers overnight. Crazy shit, man. And I had to set out and rebuild and figure shit out. So I did. I came back to Nashville, and they weren't gonna put my record out until I went to rehab. So I went to rehab. And when I told them that I was a alcoholic, but my secret was I hadn't drank alcohol in almost over a year. So I got hammered drunk right before I was supposed to go into rehab, so I would have it on my breath, because I didn't want them to send me to a psych section. I was like, man, just put me with the alcoholics. I don't want to hang out with no emo suicidal fools, because I wasn't suicidal and I knew what they were going to do. And they did have them houses out there. They had like, we call it the sad house. So you had people who were suicidal. They all hung out with each other. Alcoholics hung out with each other. Sex addicts, they hung out in another house. It was like all these houses. So I chilled with the alcoholics for my stint, like 30-something days. Got fat on lasagna and donuts. And did my time, dude. And then they fucking agreed to put my record out. I would have never went to rehab.
I mean, this was 2016.
I did this strictly to get my record out. Trust me. That's the only reason I went to rehab.
But when you look at your life right now, do you feel that you still have struggles with addiction, or do you think you're good now?
Uh, I don't have struggles with my addiction at this point in my life, because I've redirected it. You know what I mean? I still drink and have fun, but the 90% of the bandwidth of my addiction goes to making music and fashion and running Slamerican and Creekwater and producing all these other artists now and signing young talent. And I like my boy Steve Malbin said, like addiction can be a good thing if you can direct it correctly. I think that most, like Tiger Woods, I would say clearly is an addict, you know what I mean? But he's focused his addiction into golf, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like any person is like masterful at what they do has targeted their addiction toward their art. Marshall, you know what I mean? I am definitely an addict for sure. But it's just about finding ways to feed that because you're not gonna shake it. You're not gonna never not. You're once an addict, always. That's why they say like I'm in recovery. Motherfucker's been like 20 years sober, and they're like, yeah, I'm in recovery because you're never not an addict. So I just redirect that, into something that's more productive. And yeah, my mental health is as good as it's ever been. I've rekindled all of my relationships. Not only rekindled all of my relationships, I've made new ones. I have a great crew, great family of friends, and yeah, I've added shit in my life that has helped me to spend my downtime, which they say idle hands, devil's playground. So my new playground is a golf course. I don't skateboard much anymore, but I'm out on the golf course all the time. And that's opened up a whole new chapter of my life, to be honest. Playing tournaments now. I played Troubadour the other day with Jelly Roll, sponsored by Malbin, Callaway Golf Clubs. Like, that I have truly become addicted to as well. So, got tee time tomorrow. Let's go.
Oh yeah, no, I just started playing golf myself in the past year. And I remember I was at Boosie's house, and he actually has putting greens on his estate, and but he doesn't play golf. So I'm like, yo, you got to try this. Like, you're missing out. It's a whole thing.
He's got putting greens on his estate, but he doesn't golf.
He doesn't golf
he
at all,
bought
no.
it with it came with the house.
No,
Obviously.
he built it all himself.
He built it.
Yes,
That's
but
hilarious.
he doesn't play golf.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but
funny.
that's just Boosie. He also has 3 pools, and he wants 1 pool just for himself. He doesn't want anyone else to swim in it. So
That's incredible.
Boosie's Boosie. Yeah, I'll send you a video of the that we did on his estate after we're done here. You'll get a kick out of it. Okay, so after canceling the Trial by Fire tour, you actually ended up redoing the tour. You call it the 5150 tour, and you actually made up the dates that you missed out on, and you actually, everyone who bought a ticket, they were able to go for free. So you actually made all that right.
Yeah. And my mom come to see me while I was, she was the only one allowed in the at the psych ward in San Diego. Well, the first and second floor, but when they sent me up to the 3rd floor, it was a wrap. The only reason they sent me to the 3rd floor is because I wouldn't take medicine and shit. But my mom came in, and I said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna turn this 5150 thing into a business." And I did, for real. I turned it into a whole thing under the Slamerican umbrella. I drew a pattern, a 5150 flower pattern, that was inspired by the scrubs that I was there. And the 5150 flower pattern is now like, it's our logo, it's like our all over print. And shit, I got the socks on right now. It's crazy. But yeah, and then also like when I share the story with people how that happened, like I started doing the 5150 flower tattoos on other people, that may have been through the same story, or maybe they were just inspired by it. So I've tattooed a lot of 5150 flowers on friends and fans, family, because really it is as dark as it is really a beautiful story, because like from what came out of it, you know what I mean? It's like a phoenix from the ashes, man. Like I really broke down to nothing, and then was given all the blessings of a rebirth, and figuring out that next chapter. So really, a lot of great things happened from it. And I'm back with Clever, and Bones is doing great. You know what I mean? We're still homies. He's got a great solo career. Clever's out here in Nashville, and yeah, man, I was with him last night. Back doing shows, doing what we do.